Okay, so the legs. I'm only going to make one leg on here. Doesn't seem like I should need to make all four. It says with B, and B is yellow. So here's our yellow. And obviously it says make 4 of these, which I will do, I suppose, but not all on here. It's probably not even necessary. This yarn is so small to find the center, but we like doing it, so we're going to do it. Now, it wants us to chain 2, 6 single crochet, and you know, again, we're just not going to do that. We're going to magic circle because that's what I like to do. Although, I suppose I will again demonstrate the chain 2 business. So here we go. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop through our hook. That's 1, 2, and then in the second chain from our hook, so not this one, but this one over here, I'm going to do 6 single crochet, 2, you'll be working your way around, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then we have 2, 4, 6 stitches here. But as you can see, it leaves this gap here in the center. And I don't like that. So. Oh, is that one back? Hello, crazy orange spider. Okay. So, yarn over my finger, wrap it once. Go under, grab my working yarn, pull it under my tail, and I twist my hook around, and then I pinch both the loop and the tail, and then I switch to this hand. Then I'm going to chain 1 to secure this and tighten that down a little, and then we're going to do 6 single crochet. Now in this instance, you can, and I suppose I might, place a stitch marker in your first stitch there. As soon as you make it, so that you can find it again at the end. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is getting pretty hot. I might go inside soon. So next we're just going to increase, so 2 single crochet in each stitch, 6 times in each stitch around to double our amount of stitches. So here's our first stitch here. I'm going to take my stitch marker out and keep my finger there so I don't lose it. At this point I kind of know how to find it anyway, but just to show you how to keep track of it when you take your stitch marker out. You'd be surprised how quickly when you're first starting how you can lose track of a stitch you were just staring at. So 2, and each stitch around, 1, 2, 1, 2. I just realized there's an awful lot of sun on my leg and I don't want to get burnt, so we're gonna move my chair. Oh hey, sorry little guy, there was a spider. Okay, alrighty, So 2 in each stitch around. One, 2, 1, 2. So now 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, which is what we want to have. And then I think I am going to go ahead and go inside now because it is pretty warm. So I will be back. Okay, we are inside now, and there are children and dogs who live upstairs. So there may or may not be noises at times. So now we have increased in each stitch around for 12 stitches. And so here is an example of why it's always good to read through the full set of instructions, because this says rounds 3 to 9, single crochet in each stitch around. But then it says changing to A in last stitch of round 5. So if you just did your rounds 3 to 9, you would have to take it out and go back. So we're gonna get a notebook since we're inside again. And we're gonna say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're gonna single crochet in each stitch around for rows 3, 4, and 5 in yellow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Remember, we're going to be curling this back out as we go. 12. Now I'm going to mark that row off. And then before we move on, I'm going to secure this end inside here. I like to wait until there's a little bit more surface area to work with before I do that. So just going to pull this loop up and then tighten this up pretty tight. Go under a nearby stitch and knot. And then I will take the end and I'll just leave it under a couple of stitches and then probably trim it a little. Oh, this does not want to let me undo these stitches. Okay. And then we'll trim it down. And continue on. So we already marked off row 3, so now we just need to do 4. And then the last stitch of 5, we're going to change colors. And we're going to do it in the last, while we're making the last stitch of round 5. So I'll show you how to do that. That's how I like to do it when doing things like this. So this is the first stitch around 4. Put our stitch marker back. Okay, mark that off, and now starting row 5. Okay, so when we get to the last stitch of this round, we're going to start the last single crochet. We're going to insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then instead of yarning over and grabbing the yellow and pulling that through, we're just gonna loop the white onto the hook and pull that through, and then we'll tighten down the ends and tie them. So we're at the last stitch. I'm gonna get my white ready. So here we go. We are going to insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then we're gonna just drop that down, and we're gonna grab, hey, get back here. We're gonna grab our white, just loop it around like that. And then I'm just gonna hold this, pull this through, and then pull this down to tighten it. Okay, then what I do is I'll take out my stitch marker. I do the next stitch with this tail inside of the stitch. So I'll hold this tail along with my work over here. I'm going to go into this first stitch and then just single crochet around it like I normally would, just around that tail. Then I'm going to put my stitch marker back in, trim my yellow. Don't need very much. And then I'm just going to take the white tail and the yellow tail. Let's get the yellow out of the way. And I'm going to just knot them together. Tighten it down. I'm going to do it again. Just tying that down. And then just gonna shove these guys in here. Say goodbye to them. And continue with my next round. So we didn't cross all 5 because we were busy. So here we go, round 6. Okay, so let's give this a count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. So now we're just going to be, for the rest of these rows through 9, just single crocheting once in each stitch around, moving our stitch marker each time and marking off each row. So there's the end of 6. Mark that off. So I'm actually just gonna turn this off and turn it back on when I'm done. Actually, I just want to make a note real quick. So our first stitch here is pretty small because we tied it down, but this first white stitch is our stitch, not this bigger one. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So when you tie down, that stitch might get smaller, but that first one is still your stitch there. Okay, so here we are, end of row 9. Now, if you don't like that type of color change, there's a lot of different ways you can do a color change. You can slip stitch, like fasten off, and then just, you know, do a slip knot, put the new color on your hook, slip stitch into the same stitch, and then just single crochet in the same stitch and work your way around and not work into that slip stitch. There's a lot of different things you can do. But I like that one. It's nice and smooth, and it's, once you learn it, it's pretty quick and easy. So now we're going to fasten off. We're going to leave a tail for sewing. This is a small little area to sew, so I'm just going to wrap my yarn around here a couple times to give me what I think will be a decent tail length to sew this. I usually like to have a little extra rather than not enough. And now I'm gonna stuff this, and we're gonna start with a smaller amount and get it down into the toe. Press it down in there. Now I think that this guy is supposed to basically balance on his legs and stand, so you do want these to be kind of firmly stuffed so that they can support some weight. So that seems pretty good to me. And so you're gonna make 4 of these guys, and I will make the other 3 probably just on my own time. And next is the ears. I can make 2 of those. So we'll just get started with this. Now we're using A again, which is white, and it wants us to do another chain 2, but we are going to do a magic circle. So this is telling us what our right size, or our right side is, which in the assembly instructions, where are the assembly instructions? Finishing. I guess it doesn't specify. Usually if it specifies, it'll say, you know, with right side facing this side, or what have you. So, but we'll just make a note. And here we go. We're gonna make the magic circle. So yarn laying over the finger. Hey, get back here. Wrap it around once so that the tail is hanging down. Then I'm going to go under my tail, grab my working yarn, bring it under the tail and turn. We're going to fix that little split, pinch here, get into position, single crochet or slip stitch 1 to secure, and then we're going to 6 single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got our 6 single crochet in our magic circle, and now we are going to move on to the next row. So we're gonna single crochet in the next 2 stitches and then increase. So that's 3 stitches worked, and then we're gonna repeat. So here is my little guy here. That's my first stitch in the round, because if we count backwards, 2, 4, 5, 6, he's right here. So this is my first stitch. So single crochet in the next 2. So 1 single crochet in that one, 1 single crochet in this one, and then 2 single crochet in the next. One single crochet in the next one, 1 single crochet in the next one, 2 single crochet in the next. Now I was confused at first because just going around and creasing like this will make, you know, start making a circle. And this is, you know, a flat bottom shape, but then I realized it's because we're doing the cone type ear where it'll be 2 layered. So this flat bottom will actually be the with it folded in half, the bottom of like our cone basically. So now single crochet in the next 3 and then increase. So we're just going to basically be doing the same thing, just with, you know, 1 more stitch added. So this one is going to be, here's our first stitch, and we're going to single crochet in the next, you know, 3 total, so that 2 more. So this is 2, 3. We're going to keep pushing this back out the other way, and then increase. So increase, and then once more, 2, 3, increase. I'm gonna secure my tail and weave that in, and then the rest of these I'm just gonna, it's just the same thing except you're adding a stitch each time. So the next is you do 4 single crochet and then the increase, and you repeat that. The next is 5 single crochet and then the increase, and then you repeat that. And the next is 6 single crochet, the increase, and then you repeat that. So I'm actually going to do those off of the camera and come back after they're done. Okay, here we are. So I did up through round 6. We'll check our stitch count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And now it's just 2 rows, 7 and 8 of single crocheting in each stitch around, and fastening off and leaving a tail for sewing. So just get these 2 rows done. Now as far as these go, when you're making more than one, like the 4 legs, I would make them one after the other all at once. You want to do them when it's fresh in your mind, and that way I think you have a better chance of your tension just being the same and them looking more similar, because tension can change quite a bit about the size of something. So while I had to charge the camera, while it was charging, I made the other ear and made the rest of the legs. So, oh, stop that. So I now have all of those done. Okay, so it's the end of row 7. And then row 8. Four, 5. There's laundry going, the air conditioner's running, so we got a lot of ambient noise going on right now. Okay, so we're just gonna fasten off and leave a tail. Okay, so now we have 2 ears here. And here are our 4 legs. Ready for assembly when we get to it. And next, we make the horn. And this wants B, which is yellow. And let's see what we have here. So I'm gonna again do a magic circle. And this again shows us where we'll start. And this will basically be the same concept as the ear, just a little more narrow and a little longer, I think. So I'm gonna slip stitch to hold that in place, and then single crochet 6. Okay. Tighten this loop up. And now this is going to be a little different, so we're going to increase in the next 2 stitches, single crochet in the next stitch. So 2, 4, 6 right here. Okay. So once I get this first in, I will put in my stitch marker. This will be an increase in this stitch and the next stitch. And then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And then repeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, total of 10 stitches. Now rounds 3 to 5, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm just going to turn this off and do that and be back. Okay, so we're at the end of row 5. Now I'm just going to turn this inside out for a moment and weave this tail in, and then I'll just turn it right side out again. So we have our tail woven in. Now we're gonna move on to the next row, single crochet in the next 4 stitches, decrease, single crochet in the next 4. Two, 3, 4, and decrease is insert under the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert under the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 7 is just a decrease in the first 2 stitches and single crochet in the next 7. So we'll start off with a decrease. Put our stitch marker back in. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Alrighty, so next row we have single crochet in the next 3 stitches, decrease, single crochet in the next 3 stitches. One, 2, 3. I guess it's a little strange if we're supposed to be starting at the top where it's smaller, that we're getting smaller as we go down. So I'm not really sure what their start here at the top of that horn means, but I suppose we'll see. So single crochet in the next 3. 1, because it definitely looks like we're working towards the top of the horn right now. No, don't catch the loop on the other side. Okay, 3. It's that row done. Decrease, single crochet in the next 5. 1, 2 for the decrease. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches, decrease, single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So single crochet here. I'm definitely thinking that their start here is maybe not so correct anymore, because single crochet in the next stitch, decrease. So 1, oh no, lost my loop. 1, 2 for my decrease, and then 2 more stitches. 1, 2, and now we got decrease and then single crochet in the next 3. So I'm not going to put my stitch marker back in because it's so few stitches in the row. So we just have this decrease here, and you know, as you can see, it is getting harder as we go along because it's getting smaller and smaller. You just got to be careful and really look where you're placing your hook and kind of just move things around so you know you're going in the right space. So 1, 2, I'm calling something. I'll separate this out a little bit. Okay. 2. And then 3 for our final stitch here. Fasten off, leaving a tail for sewing. So yeah, I definitely think that maybe we didn't start here at the top and we started there at the bottom instead, but that's fine. So we'll leave a decent sized tail. We'll leave a decent sized tail, about that long. Okay, so there's that. Okay. So the mane and the tail here are our last things that we need to make before we can assemble. So the instructions for the tail are identical as the one for the mane, except you just use less stitches. You use 25 instead of starting with 51. So we're gonna make 3 of each in each color, I believe. Yeah, 3 of each in each color. So I will probably just do 1 of each one. So it wants pink, blue, and lavender. So let me get out. I'm kind of surprised it didn't call for us to stuff the horn or anything, but it didn't, so we didn't, and it'll be fine. This is fine. Okay, so I'll take these guys out. And we will say pink's right here, so let's start with that. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna chain 51, and it wants us to work tightly. And then single crochet and second chain from hook and each stitch across. And honestly, I don't even know if I need to do the whole thing on the camera, but we'll at least get started. So make my slip knot. We haven't done one of those in a while, so I'll do it again. So I just bring it around my thumb, take my working yarn, not my tail, bring it through the loop, hold on to that, pull my tail down, tighten it up. All right, so we're gonna work tightly. So this is gonna be smaller. I'm gonna hold things a little more with a little more tension, and this is gonna help it curl. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now for comparison, I'll show you, say I was doing this just normally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see there's a little bit of a difference there. And then if I was doing it like loosely, sometimes it'll say loosely. Stop that. A little too loose there. I bring my hook up a little bit when I do it like that, and it's a little more loose, a little less together. So tightly is how we want to do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now if you are having to chain a long length and you think you might get interrupted or something, you can say every 10 stitches you can place a stitch marker, and then when you go back to count, you know, you just can count your stitch markers and know where you are from there. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. So yeah, we got pretty tight chain here. And honestly, if your stitch count is off on a thing like this, it's not the biggest deal in the world, because it'll just change the length of the little curls a little bit, but this isn't where you have to be the most precise. Now, so we're gonna work our stitches tightly as well. We're just gonna single crochet, second chain from our hook and each across. So how I talked before about tightening things down, we're just gonna do that a little more. We're gonna keep things all a little tighter together. And as we go, it'll start to curl like it is already. Now with the stitches being so small, and you want to make sure you're not just skipping any, and that you're working into each one. It's a little harder to get the hook into smaller stitches like this, but as you can see, it's very effective for creating curls. So I'm just gonna continue crocheting across the length of this, one single crochet in each stitch until we get to the end, and then I'll come back. Okay, see here, I hope you can see that well. The way that this is laying, this stitch here is actually pretty hard to see, and it would be fairly simple to skip that and move on to the next one without realizing it's there. But this is the loop of the last stitch we worked into. So this right here is a stitch, and when I'm holding it like this, you almost can't see it. So that's why you gotta be paying close attention and finding each next stitch. And your chain itself will want to be curling in your hands, and if you end up working into the wrong side of your chain, it'll cause a little bit of a, you'll be able to see it in your work. So as you're going, make sure that your chain is still, I'm straightening it as I go the whole way down because it wants to curve away from me. So you want to make sure you still have your V's facing you and that it doesn't have this bump along the back as you go along. So here we are. This is what one of the main pieces look like. You're going to make 3 of these in each color, of the pink, the blue, and the purple. And then for the tail, you're going to do the same thing, just 1 of each color, and starting with 25 stitches instead of 51, but still single crochet in the second chain from your hook and each one across, and it'll just curl by itself. So I think that'll be it for now. I will finish up making the rest of these off camera, and then I will do the next video, which will be assembly, and then we will be all done. So that's all for now.